Hello everyone and welcome to ITLS Academy Empower the Youth. So today in this lecture we will going to study about fermented and microbial foods, that is mold fermentation. So in this particular lecture we will going to study about what is mold fermentation and what are the microorganisms that is beneficial for humans are involved in mold fermentation. Now let's get started with the topic and let's see the introduction part. So there are three main foods that are prepared by mold fermentation process produced by soya bean. So we all know that the soya bean is very much important because it has a very high content of protein in it, and this soya bean is used to manufacture different types of food through fermentation. So mold fermentation is a type of a fermentation that involved the fermentation of mold. It uses the mold for fermentation, and they are basically the three foods are temp, soya sauce, rice wine, and protein that is produced by soya bean. As already told that soya bean has a very high content of protein, so it is used in the manufacturing of different types of fermented food items. For example, in market there are soya based milk. Means if you are aware of the milk known as sofit, the sofit, it is a type of a milk, a fermented milk that is prepared from soya bean. So and if you see the nutritional value of that soya milk, or you call it as a soy milk, so it has a very high content of protein, very little less and less carbs. So the milk is a fermented and have a very high content of protein. So there are three different types of food that are prepared. The first is temp, second is soy sauce and rice wine, and last is mycoprotein. So let's talk about temp. So temp is a very important food that is basically used in different countries, especially when it comes to Indonesia. So temp, it is a soy based food, sometimes used as an alternative to meat. It is very popular with vegans and vegetarian because it has a vitamin B12 complex, vitamin B12, and its complete source of protein. That means it has all nine essential amino acid that your body needs for healthy bones and muscles. But it is not just for people who do not eat meat. Temp is a healthy way to add more plant-based food to almost any diet. So as already told you that temp, it is a soy-based food. Soy-based food means it has a very high content of soya bean, and because of the high content of soy based food, it is also be used as an alternative to a meat. People who is pure vegetarian can use this type of food, can have this fire type of food, and since it has a very high content of protein in itself, so it is very popular among the vegans and the vegetarian people because it has a vitamin B12, and it has a complete source of protein. Whenever I am saying it has a complete source of protein, then it means that it has a total 9 essential amino acid. Means it has all the 9 essential amino acid that keeps your body and your bone healthy. So you can think up to which extent it is beneficial and have a full amount of nutrient in itself. So people, but it is not the case that people who do not eat milk can only consume this. Any people can have consume this type of temp, and it is not only related to the vegan people or vegetarian people, but it is a very good source of good alternative to meat. Temp is a healthy way to add more plant, and of course it is a soybean, so it is a plant based food, and it act as a good nutritional value, add good nutritional value to your diet. Then comes what is a temp. Actually what is the definition of temp? Let's talk about that. So people in Indonesia start marketing this nutty tasty bean cake 100 years ago. It made from a partially cooked soya beans and fermented with a type of a mold called rhizopus. So if you see this stem, it is people of Indonesia was familiar with this nutty tasting bean cake, and it is not something new to them. So from 100 year ago, it was there in their country, and people were consuming this nutty tasty tasting bean cake. And it is a cake that is made from soya bean. And how the soya bean plus the fermented with a type of a mold known as rhizopus. So rhizopus is the mold that is used in the fermentation to produce this nutty tasty bean cake. So if you look closely, you will notice a fuzzy white substance holding a temp together, that is known as rhizopus, but that is safe byproduct of fungus known as mycelium. So mold in your food may not sound too appealing, but don't forget, mold and other fungi are the part of the process of making several food, including some cheese. So sometimes when it comes to mold or bacteria or sometimes yeast, so we get very insecure about in using these type of food, because our mentality is that these type of food, they what they do, they basically harm the human body. But there are some mold that is generally used in fermentation process, and to make different types of several types of food items, including cheese is one of the product that is made through this mold fermentation. Now fermentation actually improves temp because it add nutrients and it make it easy to digest. So fermentation, why fermentation is used? Because it makes it add extra nutrients like vitamin B12, amino acid, and yes, amino acid means all the 9 essential amino acid. And since it is a fermented product, so since all the fermented product are very easy to digest, so it makes the food easy for digestion. Now moving to the nutritional profile. So if you see the nutritional profile of a temp, so a temp is has no cholesterol, means they have a zero cholesterol, and it is a good way to get the vitamins. So it is rich in vitamin B12, it is rich in different types of vitamin, basically vitamin B. It has a good source of fiber, iron, calcium, and other minerals. So if you see this diagram or the nutritional content of tem, then this is a tem. So this amount of tem is 18 gram. So not sorry, this is a tem that it consists of 18 gram of protein. So when I have just started the topic, so I have told you that it is a soy based product, and soya bean, it is a very, it has a very high content of protein. So if you can see this nutritional value, so it has 18 grams of protein. If we talk about again talk about the fat, that can you can see it has 0.4.5 grams of fat, no cholesterol, carbs is only 12 grams, and dietary fiber is 6, sugar or added sugar is 0, and sodium of course is 0. So this is a good source of nutrient in our diet, and it and since it does not have a sugar and other added sugar, so it is best suited for the people who have diabetes. So this is the nutritional profile. So what is the benefit of using temp? So since it has so much nutrient content, and it's a vegan food product, so largely consumed by different types of vegetarians and vegan people all over the world, and it is a good source alternative to the meat product, and since it is giving all the essential nutrient, generally it has a very high content of protein. So a person who has deficiency of protein can easily consume temp to get rid of the deficiency of protein. Why? Because since a temp alone is giving 18 grams of protein. So like other soya food, temp has isoflavonoids. These are the, what is isoflavonoids? So these are the chemical known as phytoestrogens that have cancer fighting and antioxidant property. There is no evidence, there is also an evidence that soya products like temp may have improve your cholesterol, lower your bp, protect your heart, improves your insulin resistance, lower inflammation, help relieve hot lashes from menopause, and promote bone health. So it has a since it is a isoflavonoid, so they are what are, so these are the chemicals known as phytoestrogens, and the studies have proved that it has a cancer fighting properties, as well as it has a antioxidant properties. So there, and it is also, and there are several evidence that shows that by using a temp product you can improve your cholesterol, because the temp contains 0% of cholesterol. Then it lowers your blood pressure. Of course, when the cholesterol level lowers down, so your ultimately your bp is lowers. It protect your heart, all is related to the cholesterol, so it protect your heart. It improve insulin resistance, again it has zero sugar. Sugar is again zero, so it improves your insulin resistance. Then comes it lowers the inflammation. It helps to relieve from hot flashes from menopause, and of course it has good in protein. So protein is a building block of the body, and it makes the bones stronger. So and it has a calcium as well, so it promotes the bone health. Now moving to the next, that is how you prepare a temp. So you take soya bean, you soak soya bean overnight, and after that soya bean soaked overnight are hulled, means you take out that soya bean, you washed it, boiled it, or sometimes you steam it, cool it to the room temperature, and then mix with the vinegar and starter culture. So now, after soaking the overnight, you washed it, you steam it, and even you after boiling it or steaming the soya bean, you just keep the soya bean at the room temperature for cooling. Then after cooling, you just mix with vinegar and the starter culture. So in the previous lecture I have completed about vinegar, so you can go and see what is vinegar and how vinegar is processed and why we use vinegar. Then after vinegar, you add some starter culture and you do fermentation. So the fermentation process requires the beans to incubate in a warm temperature. So the temperature is basically between 29 degrees centigrade to 33 degrees centigrade up to 48 hours. So incubation time is 48 hours and the temperature is 39 to 33 degrees centigrade. Then after that, fermentation time depends on the weather condition as well. If you have a very hot temperature, so this fermentation time gets changed. If you have an extreme cold condition, then the again fermentation times changes. So after for 24 to 48 hours, the bean become a single mast held together by a white spores. Then the temp can be refrigerated. So after this, let's see the whole flow diagram to understand more. That you take soya bean. After taking soya bean, here what do? You soak the soya bean to get excess of the waste that is attached to the soya bean. Then after that you add water for soaking, of course. Then you do the hull removal, again any any foreign particles that are attached to it, you just wash the excessive foreign particles. Then boil it for 30 minutes and then drain and dry it. After that the rhizopus incubation is done. So here you are taking rhizopus, Then wrap in a plastic or banana leaves, then incubate it for 1 to 2 days at an ambient temperature, and your temp is um, uh, the last product is temp. So here you get a very dry temp. Okay, so this is how the packing of temp look like. So this is a handmade temp, and it is a original temp nature. So if you see the nutritional content of this whole temp, so it has 16 grams of proteins and 7 grams of fibers per portion serving and per portion. So this it is a product of Canada, and it is a 250 grams. So in 250 grams of temp you are getting 16 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, and after that you have many other nutrients. So it is written here, keep in refrigerated, and the refrigeration is used to keep it fresh and to extend their shelf life. After that, it is also mentioned it is a gluten free product. It is vegan, means vegetarian, and of course it has a very good source of protein. So this is how the temp packaged look like. Now people generally get confused that what to use and what not to use, means difference between temp and tofu, because both of them is a soya product, and it has similar taste and similar structure and similar process. Then what is the slight difference between temp and tofu? Because tofu, it is tofu, paneer, temp, all are very similar, just like each other, similar to each other. So let's take 100 grams of temp and 100 grams of tofu, and now let's see the nutritional value. So if you see the nutritional value of temp, then you see the calories are 167 in temp, and if you see the nutritional value of tofu, then 94 calories are there. Here the protein content is so high in temp, that is 19 grams. Here the protein content is 9.4. Of course there is a major difference in proteins. Then a fat, temp has a 5.4 grams, whereas in tofu you have 5.3 grams. Then if you see the carbs, then of course in temp you are getting more carbs, and in tofu you are getting very less carbs. Similar is with fibers. In temp you are getting high fiber, and here the fiber is slightly less, and of course the sugar, both have zero sugar. So both are the fermented product, both have a high content of protein, but when it comes to temp it has larger protein, and as we have discussed the definition also, so temp has greater content of protein as compared to tofu, whereas if you see the fiber also, so it has a high content of fiber as compared to tofu. So both are fermented, they all have sorry, both are not fermented, sorry. Temp is a fermented product, where tofu is not fermented product, and they have temp has a firm chewy and texture, whereas it has a firm and silky texture, just like paneer, and it is a strong nutty flavor, because of the use of slight vinegar, and because of the soya bean, so it has a very mild and neutral flavor. So this is a basic difference between temp and tofu. Now let's see who shouldn't eat this temp. So you should avoid temp if you have soya allergy. So if you have a soya allergy, so you should always avoid temp. There are some concern that soya may affect your thyroid, your thyroid works, and how you absorb thyroid medication. So a person who has a thyroid history or taking medication of thyroid, so he should avoid it using temp. Be safe. You should talk to your doctor about eating temp or other soya product if you have thyroid disorder. So if you have a thyroid disorder, so you should always avoid consuming the soy product, and whenever you want to start, you should always consult your doctor regarding this, and then you should start this temp. So that's bring to the end of the lecture. Hope you have understood the lecture. If any doubt, any queries related to the lecture or related to any previous lecture, so you can simply leave your queries in the comment section below. In the next lecture, I will be answering the queries as well as if you have any course related queries, so you can simply visit our website, that is www.itlsacademy.com, where you can get updated regarding any courses. And this is our helpline number, that is 7080833450. You can simply call on this number and get updated. So again students, thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, and yes, at last don't forget to press the bell icon to get more lectures. Thank you.